Hi everybody, welcome back to the Bumpkin News. Today is February the 6th, 2012. If you know your history, you know that during the early part of the 1940s there was a French resistance underground that resisted the occupation of France by the Nazi regime, and they were a good part of the successful overthrow of that regime and the eventual liberation of the nation of France. Well, we're their spiritual brothers because we resist the occupation of our federal government of the United States by a communist regime, namely the Obama administration. And this is not a violent resistance, but this is a resistance of information and ideas. We think that will win out because we stand for constitutionalism and the principles that made the United States a great nation. You know, we've got a column here we want to comment on today by E.J. Dionne Jr. We've been reading Mr. Dionne for a number of years, and whenever you read his column, you always want to have a full salt shaker at the ready. And I see finally where Mr. Dionne has graduated from the ranks of the minor junior propagandist to a senior propagandist. If there was such a thing, we would recommend him, nominate him for the J. Goebbels Propagandist Award for 2012. If you don't know who Joseph Goebbels was, you need to Google that and find out. Certainly Mr. Dionne exhibits the marks of a consummate propagandist. That is, he can present ideas which are contrary to constitutionalism and free principles, and make them sound very palatable, very polished, very disingenuous. And if you have been saturated with the mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, and NPR radio, and that's been your source of information, it probably sounds pretty good to you. But if you're somebody that has been immersed in the Constitution and American true American principles, you can see the fallacy in his the viewpoints that he puts forth. Give you an example here. Mr. Dionne, he says that speaking about Obama's re-election, he says Obama, we'll quote, Obama is rooting himself in old American values. That's too much. That is so absurd. Obama is rooting himself in old American values. Well, you know, the other day Mr. Obama gave a speech, and in that speech he said that if we don't give him 4 more years, Americans are going to have to revert to, and this is horror of horrors, this is worse than if our atmosphere was suddenly 100% methane. He said Americans would have to revert to self-reliance. Now, isn't that terrible, that Americans might have to revert to self-reliance? In other words, we won't have to depend upon the government. We'll have to depend upon ourselves now. You know, and Mr. Dionne says that Mr. Obama stands for old American values. So apparently in his world, American values, old since the beginning of the Republic, have been not to be self-reliant, but to depend upon the government. You know, let me say right here, people think that I'm a ditto head, that I follow Rush Limbaugh. But if you've been listening to or watching my videos, you'll find out that I have been opposed to some of the viewpoints of Mr. Limbaugh, Mr. Hannity, and conservative talk radio. Matter of fact, there's one video where I explain why conservative talk radio was behind the curve at that time. Mr. Limbaugh did not see the Tea Party coming. He carried the water for the Republican Party for so long, and when he began to realize that people were waking up to conservatism, true conservatism, then he began to change and said he wasn't going to carry the water for the Republicans anymore. And I mentioned all this in a video before, maybe a year before this even happened. I think him and Sean Hannity and many of the conservative talk radio personalities are part of the reason why we have Obama in the White House and why we had a Democrat majority so long in both houses of Congress, because their focus was on the Democrats instead of putting the light of day on the liberal Republicans and the lifelong career politicians in the Republican establishment. So I'm not a ditto head. I'm the bumpkin in chief. Formulate my own ideas. I get around, see a lot of things, and listen to a lot of things, hear a lot of things, and you're getting whatever benefit there may be from that experience. Okay, Mr. Dionne, he goes on here, and he says, Obama spoke of government's essential role in ensuring shared prosperity. So he says that it's government's role to ensure shared prosperity. That means that everybody is guaranteed by the government to get a piece of the pie. That means that guy that lives across the street from you, that lives with his girlfriend, she's got about 5 kids by 5 different people, and he likes to play the lottery, drink, and smoke the wacky tobacco. This guy's entitled to part of your earnings. In other words, the guy from the government comes, gets it out of your pocket, takes it across the street, and gives him a cut. I don't think so. I don't think that's an old American value. I think if you look back to the pioneers when they went out and carved their life out of lands where there was nothing there and they made something out of it, I think those are the principles of America, that you make a way for yourself, that government is not the first responder, government is the last responder. You know, if I stub my toe and break a toe, who's the first person I call? It's not the White House. It's not the governor's mansion. It's not the fire department. It's not the emergency room. It's probably not even the doctor, depending on the severity of it, but I'm going to look at it myself. I'm going to see what I can do about it first, and being the bumpkin, I know that a lot of times when you stub your toe, there's not really a whole lot you can do for it except immobilize it. I've had toes that I bumped real hard in the night, and they were purple, and I didn't call anybody. I just and checked it in the bathroom light and went back and got in bed, and I turned out okay. So I think the American principle is government is not the first responder in every case. Obama would have it to be so. So you see another perversion of the American value system here, which Mr. Dionne is propagating as a senior propagandist. Remember what John F. Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Well, today he would be a Republican. He certainly wouldn't be a Democrat of the communist ilk that we have today. Mr. Dionne goes on. He says government support is critical in helping businesses get new energy ideas off the ground. Okay, now this is a good one. If you, like I say, have been immersed in the mainstream media, you don't know who Solyndra is, you don't know who or what Solyndra was, or don't know of what AIG is and these other green energy companies. Let me fill you in a little bit about this. He says government is essential in helping these industries. Well, what the Obama administration has been doing, companies like Solyndra, they've been doling out millions and millions and millions of dollars to these companies. The executives take huge cuts and then they go bankrupt. In the case of Solyndra, the number of the executives were subpoenaed to explain some of the things that were going on here, and guess what they did? They took the Fifth Amendment. You taking taxpayer money, taking my living, and giving it to private industry. Private industry, the management enriches themselves with my money, and then they go bankrupt and lay off people, close the doors. This is what you get when you have government central control, communist control. In the case of AIG, you may not know it, but one of the top executives in AIG, this is one where the taxpayer, good old U.S. taxpayer, funded the bailout for AIG. One of their chief executives got a $10 million payout when they weren't supposed to get more than $500,000. In my opinion, someone that would be the chief executive officer of a company that was nosediving into the ground and crashing and burning shouldn't get anything. So this is what's going on with the government, as Mr. Dionne says, helping businesses get new energy ideas off the ground, which is a big scheme, crony capitalism, and enriching certain probably political donors. I know in some cases that's right, but bad situation. So you see what the propaganda is here, and you see what what's really going on. Let me know if you have any opinions or ideas, questions. Be glad to hear from you.